Let's call it to order officially. Welcome everyone. I'm hoping everybody's staying at least warm. The ideal is staying home today. I like that ideal. I see you guys are out and about. But call to order, roll call. Robin, if you'll just take the roll for us.
Okay. John Daughtery.
Here.
Dolly Holland.
Here.
Matt Montgomery.
Here.
Todd Blanton.
Here.
Hannah Gregory.
Here.
Tiffany Reeves.
Here.
Jeremy Hurd.
Here.
Colin Mosley.
Here.
Rachel Adams.
Here.
Jennifer Hayes.
Here.
Stacy May.
Here.
Rolando Thacker.
Here.
Todd Blanton.
Still here.
And me. I think that's everyone. Did I miss anyone? Okay,
I think
good.
we're good.
Oh,
Got double
Yeah.
Todd, right?
did I get him twice?
I think so. He's worth a double
Yeah.
Todd.
Take as much of Todd as we can get.
Yes. All right. So the approval of the minutes is our first item of action there. That looks like a small minute compiled there. Looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a
I'll make
motion.
All right.
I'll
It's,
second.
Matt and Dolly, and all in favor, obviously. All three of us. Now that moves forward, and we get into Colin's report for us.
Sir. So November and December. In November 2025, we were at 40% expended on our overall budget. And that tracked with 40% at the same time in the prior year. Admin costs were at 51% compared to 39% in the prior year. Adult expenditures were at 52%, and we were at about 50% in the prior year. Our dislocated worker program was 22% expended, and that compares to 27% in the prior year. Youth program was 42% expended, and it was at 36% in the prior year. And then our youth program funds for work experience was at approximately 116,000. We're tracking well on that. And then our October Equus invoice, you can see there, Equus has been paid on that. And then I can also confirm November Equus invoice has been paid as well. I forget which day that was, but it might be, I think I put that on the next report. But any questions about this part of the November report so far?
On your second bullet, the admin costs 51% through November. So December is halfway, and then last year we were at 39%. Do we have more personnel? Is that why? And maybe are we concerned that we're going to run out on the admin because we're ahead of a sort of a divide by 12 percentage?
Yeah, so we're not worried about running out. It's definitely something that we've got to just keep an eye on. Let me see where we're at on the December one. I forgot. Because in December, we're at 61% in December there. So that's something definitely to look at. Because let's see, so on staff, I'm charging some staff, Tiff, and then Robin. But you can see just the breakdown of costs on admin up here. It's pretty well standard up there.
Yeah, but it's 12% ahead or whatever that is, ahead 13% ahead of last year. So it looks like it's trending to go over.
So we'll have to take a look and make sure that anything that's, because it was a 10% jump basically from November to December. So, nothing major occurred differently that month. So, I can do a little bit extra looking just to make sure that, and give you guys some detail on if something needs to get scaled back or,
Yeah.
something like that.
Right,
But,
because just looking at staff costs, right? I mean, and I'm on page 6 of the packet, I guess, the administrative costs in November. You see it's at July is at 12, August is at 20, okay. September's at 19, and then we've got something in October that jumps way up into the 40s, and then it goes back in November at 10, right? So
Yeah.
something happened in October that was
Yes, so Matt, that's an astute point. So in October, the very first payroll in October, in our books, it got duplicated. And I don't know,
Yeah, we got paused.
yeah, you guys broke up. I don't know if you can hear us.
We're back.
there we go.
Right.
So, it said that we lost you. But so in October, we had a duplicate payroll we only paid it one time, but on the books, it went in there twice. And then in November, we corrected that, and that's why it only shows $10,000 on
Right.
November's.
If you could
So-
put that as a footnote for that one, that'd be good, to kind of understand that. So
Yeah.
that's why those two numbers are. So if I average the two, though, it would say that July was 12, August was 20, September was almost 20, October, if we take the average, then would have been like 26, November 26, right? So I mean, we're still trending high, I guess. Um, yeah, it'd be good to understand where we're headed to make sure that we're not going to have an overrun or any kind of issues in the fourth quarter.
Because with that math, that looks like 4 months and we're out, right? If we're trending at that 26.
Right.
Yeah, and that October was a 3-check month too, for, bi-weekly payroll folks. So,
Yeah, just the easiest math is to say that as of December, you should be probably as close to spot on to 50% as you need to be, and we're over 50%, a month ahead of that.
yes,
And what happens if we need to allocate more money into that? Do we get in some problems with that?
well, so if you look at the report before the admin, which is our budget, you can see that our admin costs up there. So we start the year with a total allocation of $428,000. We brought in some additional funds of $153,000. So we would be able to keep, we would be able to use some more if we needed to, but, there's no reason we can't make it under the gun at the end of this fiscal year.
Well, let me repeat that back as I understand it. So WIOA has fixed rules as to how much you can take from an admin, and we're going to max that out. But you've got additional grant funds from other sources that are in this number that's reflecting what's in there. Is that what's there? And this budget that we're seeing is a sort of a aggregated set of numbers, both grant and WIOA funds.
Yeah, this budget is strictly the WIOA formula funds. So, one of the things like for my time, I do charge some to, the NDWG grant. And so that's something that can help us out a little bit more. And we factored in whenever we applied for that grant that we could, charge it to some things. I think in general, I've just been charging the WIOA grants, but, a time or two I have touched the NDWG grant. So, maybe I can just make sure that anybody else that works on that is charging that more, appropriately. So,
Yeah, I mean, we need to make sure that we're accurate. So yeah, I mean, please do that just regardless. But I'm it's not clear to me right now that as we get into the December numbers that we're at almost 2/3 of our it looks like we're going to be about 10 to 15% over. So I'd like to, what's our path now that we see it? How, as much runway as possible, how do we correct it?
Okay.
Because I think this is John, to your question. I don't think that it's different than when we run out of adult money, we can reallocate from dislocated or do things like that. I don't think you can do that with admin. I think that that's a fixed percentage of the total allocation that you get. So there's not more money there. We just need to charge the accounts less or something, like find other sources for that to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keeping on the trend, I'm looking at 50 to 60,000 by, June that we're without. You're talking percentages. I'm looking at real,
Yeah.
monies, and that's a lot.
Yep.
So,
It's admin is almost exclusively in staff, and so.
with
Colin
that,
will get, Colin will take and look at it all and readjust how we build grants, right? And then we'll send an update to you all would like next Wednesday be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. The finance committee is getting together towards the end of the month, right? Is that?
yeah, the
Like, so this
25th.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the 25th, I think we need to have a better understanding and a good plan. I think that's plenty of time to figure that. Okay, red flag.
Sir, we'll do it.
Okay. Matt, you're on the finance chair still, so we want to make sure is that good with you? For the
Yeah, no,
25th?
I think that's good for me to kind of understand it. What I'm trying to decide here is, like, I'm not sure that we're at a point where we can approve it until we understand it, right? I mean, not that you've already spent the money. I mean, we're already in February and we're talking about November. So I'm not sure that we can actually do much, but I'm just concerned that we're going to, I don't want to end up, because this is staff and this is admin, I don't want to have to end up with in a spot where we need to, like, that's head count, right? And I don't want to play with head count to make this work. But I need this to be accurate.
So I will push
Now,
this.
one bit of room that we can do, so Tiff, I don't know how much time that your time actually does go towards the NDWG or any of these other grants, but we need to look at how yours is going and Robin's, because I'll spend in a week, 1 or 2 hours on NDWG, and so I can charge that. And then the same thing for you, like,
So just,
and
yeah.
when we submitted the grant
Yeah.
proposal, we did allocate in a certain FTE for you as well. So
we did.
that would be a really nice chunk for both of us. We can just, going forward, charge maybe a couple hours or 3 hours, just depending on what your time actually.
Well, no, I know.
And we'll make sure that everything ties out at the end with DWG, that we don't go over that.
Yeah.
That's on there, but
Then you just need to send me grant code.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that grant code, because I know I do work a couple hours a week on it, so,
Yes.
okay.
so.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we're on the recording, right? I mean, we need to make sure that we're charging things where they need to go. So especially as to support any audits or anything else. So please do that anyway. But yeah, let's look for sort of kind of I would say that is in this, we would like to see an action plan to get this to where, I mean, I don't want us to underspend, but let's get it back to where we feel confident that we're not going to overspend when we look at this fiscal year.
And what I would suggest is this, and now I'm going to look at Rob and Stacy, Tiff, to think about this. Can we table this approval action until the finance committee? Or do we need to do something?
I don't think we can table it to a different committee.
Okay,
You
Um,
can't. You can't. But you can defer it to the finance committee for approval.
let's do that.
Yeah.
So let's defer this to the finance committee for approval to us, and then we will do official as need be at a later time.
Yeah,
That's not right.
yeah, that sounds good. I just would like to dig into that a little bit more and see where the trajectory of this is. I mean, jumping down to December, I mean, it looks like we're still going to be under budget, but we don't have a line that's just admin, so I can't necessarily see the trending. But I think you were doing the same math, John, that I was, where we're gonna be over if we continue at the same rate.
But and we've not, to my knowledge, done any dynamic changes, so our cost trend should be, pretty close as
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it looks like something happened in October, November. I mean, just looking at those averages being higher that were different than the past. But yeah, okay. So we'll get back together on the 25th on this.
Dive deep into it on 25th with Matt at the helm, and I'll be there. Dolly,
Yeah.
hopefully will be there as well.
Yeah, Donna
Colin?
Angel will join us as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, okay.
Well, and Colin, you got the helm on the seat there to, and of course, the team to come up with a good plan.
Yes, sir.
All right, since we're in this, if you will, just to finalize Colin's report there, even though we're going to table the action item, Colin, you want to walk through the rest of it? Because you just got the November, right?
Yes, sir. So at the end of November, you can see the grant balances. I've added the additional reports for November for the BG grant and the Putting Young Kentuckians First. They have their own individual. For December, I actually added also the storm grant, but November it is not there because we had to charge some money to it. But you can see at the very end on the grant balances worksheet. There at the very end, it says NEG severe storms. You can see the total balance that we have there on the left. I'll remind you, is the starting balance, and down on the right is the ending balance of each of the grants. So you can see our snapshot of where we stood on all our funds in November. And we had the trade grant still, Putting Young Kentuckians First, NEWG grant for the Yokohama, BG Cap, and the severe storms. And then we do still have the Quest grant, which runs out at the end of this year. We're tracking pretty well on that. So if you had any questions about the rest of that November report, let me know.
I do not. I mean, it looks like the payments are happening in a good fashion and everything else. So I do not.
Good.
You want to jump into December?
Let's do that.
Okay. So, at the end of December, we were at 48% overall expended on our total budget, compared to 46% in the prior year. Our admin was at 61% compared to 47% in the prior year. Adult expenditures were at 60%, and we were at 56% in the prior year. Dislocated work was at 28% compared to 32% in the prior year. Our youth was at 50% compared to 43% in the prior year. Then our youth work experience was 117K. And then our November invoice was paid January the 23rd. And then the December invoice is the drawdown has been submitted. It was submitted last week. So we're waiting to see what their review is on that still.
On the adult expenditures being at 60%, are you planning a pull from dislocated workers?
And yes, I was told we wanted to discuss that. So at this time, we're actually in a really good spot with that because we're still drawing on the last year's transfer amount. And so we've really not had to touch our current dislocated or adult grants so far. And one of the things we did coming into this new fiscal year was because the allocations were so similar for the adult and the dislocated worker funds that we received. We actually did like whenever we pay our light bill and different things related to the Career Center, we have a set percentage for each of the grants that we'll charge to. So if it's $275, it's 37% to adult, 31 to dislocated worker, and 31 to youth, or 32. And so it usually our dislocated worker percentage is much less. So this year we've been able to put the two much more closer together. So we've actually been drawing our dislocated worker, taking some of the weight off of the adult and putting it on the dislocated worker grant this year. So we're actually in a really good spot. We still have that 270-8026 adult grant that's sitting there and the 273-8026. So we've got about 900,000 left in adult funds outside of this transfer amount we're working through. So we're in a good spot there.
So Tiff, that'll be a different problem for you moving forward, right? I mean, that'll be you're going to have more funds that will expire, not at the end of this year, but at some point in the future that we may have to get more aggressive with, trainings and I mean, that it's a good problem, but it's a different problem.
Correct.
Yeah. So no, I don't see any reason why we would need to do a transfer unless we're in June and we've got, we can see in 2 or 3 months we need to do it. But as we are right now, we're in a good spot.
It's good to know.
Yeah, no big questions there. Just curious on the Equus invoices where they make the adjustments. I mean, I expect those adjustments to kind of happen here, but is it just as we look at, is it like a time entry thing, or is it some files just came in late, or what are those? Just because that wouldn't seem like, I mean, it was Christmas, so Christmas doesn't really count from a calendar perspective, but it seemed like that was about 3 weeks after we found that one.
You're talking about the November one or the December one?
The November one. You got the invoice on the 12th of December. You started the drawdown, right? It's Christmas, so you don't expect it right away. But then there was an update in January. Was just typical things found as you were closing the books.
I forget exactly. I can go back and find exactly what it was, but it was something. So whenever we get our invoice, we get the breakdown of the total cost for each grant program. And then when I make the drawdown, there's a worksheet within their invoice that I transfer over into my drawdown spreadsheet. And if something doesn't quite add up, a lot of times we're literally looking at like pennies because there's a rounding issue or something. And I just want to get a verification from them and something like that. But I don't remember exactly what happened. I can tell you exactly what happened in December for the December invoice, but that one I can't remember. But it's a small adjustment. Small to me is probably less than $100. So it might have been a penny because that's happened before.
I want to think there was one that was like it was a nickel. Something was weird with a nickel in November.
Yeah, but it's sure happens in like the travel expenses. Somebody it just rounded out differently, and then the invoice, the cover sheet shows one number, and then wherever I make the pivot table out of the draw spreadsheet, it matches something else. And so I have to verify with merchant inspector judgment call where we put this penny. I want them to tell me, and so that's where it'll go right there. So but. Again, I'll look that up if you want to find exactly what that was, but it was just something small.
No, I was just curious on what some of those things are. I mean, that makes sense. It's unfortunate that it sort of restarts the clock. But I mean, overall, we're still paying it like in under 45 days. So, I mean, Jennifer, any concerns with any of that? I mean, I know you started getting yelled at 45 days. Was that what I remember?
They, over the past year, there's been a substantial attention to it and to the positive. So there's no issues on our side at all. Right?
Okay, thank you.
I mean, and here's the reality of it, like, if we're trying to make sure that everything is squared away good, if Equus has to go back, if we do find a disallowed cost, if we find something that was missing and they have to go back and adjust that, then, I mean, they know that that pushes their clock
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Right?
no,
Because that means the information wasn't given to us correctly.
yeah, that was my policy when I ran procurement operations in my past life, right? It was that the clock starts from the reception of a valid invoice, right? And if you found something disallowed, it doesn't, we're restarting the clock. I mean, but just in good partnership, right? I mean, just trying to understand. But even overall, after the restart, it's still under 45 days. Where in this case, I mean, it was probably like a couple of weeks when you got the good one. But just wanted to understand how big that was. But trying to leave the next person right. Make sure it's it's easy for the next person. But yeah, great.
And I just want to shout out, speaking to that partnership, the Equus worked with us on that December invoice, because we did have some monitoring adjustments. After conferring with Michael, he said that it really should come on those monitoring adjustments. It was it was basically $50 worth of changes from somebody that had charged, it was
To the wrong
a,
grant code.
that they charged the wrong grant code. It was a background check and somebody bought books or shoes or something like that.
Okay.
And we had to get that on an invoice rather than, if we did it on our end, it got really hairy trying to get it also to Equus too. If we just did it on our end and drew it down, it gets a little bit hairy, but Equus was able to revise that invoice for us, and they worked with us really well, so we could get those monitoring adjustments in for so that they can close the books on our monitoring, which once this drawdown is officially approved, hopefully before the end of this week, they'll be able to close that book. So
Yeah.
so
It's always painful though. It's like you'll spend something for all this money and it ends up being pennies that hold you up, and you can't get any of it until it's all fixed. But yeah, no, I get it. It's like that everywhere. Okay, great. All right. No, thank you.
Sure.
So I'm pushing this on the 25th meeting to hash out all the other pieces there, and then we'll get a revisit, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the percentage increase from November to December isn't as concerning, but I just like let's put it all together to make sure that we've got a path for. I mean, we're already in February, so like I'm a little nervous that we're at like 80% and we've got 4 months to go, right? So yeah, let's
Yeah.
we'll talk at the end of the month.
So Colin, if you would, even though your reports are, what they are, a month at a time, on the 25th meeting, if you give us this, the closest to that date as you can is where we're looking on the 25th for Matt's, and I'll be there,
Yeah.
So we can get into that. Okay, Colin, have you got any more to add?
No, I just already directed your all attention that there is, you will be seeing on the individualized reports that the storm grant is included on this, as well as the two, NDWG grants, the NDWG and Putting Young Kentucky's first grant. And then at the very end is our current state at the end of December of our grant balances. So, that's it.
I see the Putting Young Kentuckians first, and we got a $75,000 red on that. I just in red numbers kind of pull my attention.
Kentuckiana Works is the keeper of the funds, right? They're the main ones who received all the funds from the legislation. I had talked with Jennifer. One of the other areas has expended all the funds, and by no means did they get the same amount that we did. And Kentuckiana Works requested that $75,000 come from Bluegrass because we weren't on trend to spend that amount, right? So that is what that 75,000 is. Kentuckiana Works pulled it back from us and gave it to, South Central. Because South Central just originally, I want to think they just got 200 something thousand, per year. And they've done really good, right? So, and they also pulled some funds from Tenco because they also got a large amount and they're not going to spend their money
Okay.
either. So yeah, that's what that is.
That makes perfect sense. Yes. I just seen red, so red draws my eyes, you know. Okay. With all the calling and you know, the finances, has anybody got any more comments or questions for that? If not, we'll move on.
No.
All right.
Anything else?
Got informational items. I'm interested in this, which is the treasury position. Matt was kind of alluding to that, I think. And that's you, Tiffany, according to my notes.
Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had one individual who was nominated by somebody else. And then we had, Donna, the one individual that was nominated by somebody else that they were interested. We're gonna have Donna come to the finance meeting, correct, Stacy?
Yes, out of the two individuals that have received nominations, Donna is the only one that accepted. The other person was very thankful for the nomination and would hope to maybe take a position in the future, but current work status would not allow them to dedicate that extra time right now. So right now we have Donna, and she has handed in all of her paperwork, her bio and stuff. I'm going to do a small little edit to it because, you know, she has quite an extensive history in finance and leadership for decades. So I'm going to do a little summary on that for a bio. And what we'll do, since we only have one nomination, and I guess I don't know that I can actually move this into a vote category, but I think this seems relatively fair. I may have already gone over it, is leave a blank spot in case people want to write in. We do have the option, if there's not a consensus that was written into the rules, but to handle it in that way, so people can write in a person if they do not want Donna or see someone else as possibly a better fit. But I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I just want to make sure that option is presented to board members when it comes to time to vote.
Okay, so will it be an electronic vote or a paper ballot?
Mhm.
So
Jeremy's going to be
we'll have-
handling that part of it.
Okay, so we'll have a select Donna or write in somebody, correct?
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah. And Donna wanted to set up some time with me. We set up a half an hour and spent 90 minutes on Monday, I think, kind of going through what it is that I do. I will say that she had lots of questions just on, you know, when we had the budget issue, you know, a couple of years ago, like what happened, what controls are in place. She was asking lots of questions about the controls and the processes. So that may be something separately that she would just like to kind of run through. What are your standard operating procedures? You know, how do we get comfortable with that, you know, that we won't be in that situation again as we look at this. And you know, so as we look at the admin costs, right? I mean, like what as we determine what happened there, how do we make sure that we're in control and feel good about that? She just asked lots and lots of questions about that and how we kind of go through it. So yeah, I mean, I think that she was very humble in wanting to do this. She said, like, if there was somebody more qualified, she would absolutely defer to that other person. But you know, when you're the only candidate, you're also the best candidate, right? So there we go. But I think she'd be great. She's she's asking a lot of questions.
I'm happy that she accepted, you know, the
Yeah.
opportunity. Because that's not something that somebody knowing that just jumps in and says, yeah, I'll do it. So,
Yeah.
So
Like I've tried to explain to her that I'm not a finance person. I just, you know, these are the questions I try to ask, and you start to do like like just like what we just did, right? So, but yeah, so it feels like you're going to get a pretty significant upgrade.
you might be downplaying that a little bit, but I think she's going to be fine. All right.
All right.
And she did accept the invitation to join the finance committee later this month, so that's great.
All right, well, that's good to know. Any other comments about that?
No, I would just say too, one of the things that so she's gonna come to the meeting, and I will come to the meeting. I know I don't normally, but we were just gonna kind of chat and catch up afterwards, like at lunch, and talk about that. So if anybody wants to join us afterwards and, sort of just, have lunch, that's open as well.
That's the same day we've got the lunch and learn at the same location. We've got a state Department of Labor lunch and learn that same day.
Okay. Well, never mind.
I think the majority of the people on this call, at least the staff, will be operation on that.
Okay.
All right, so now we get the fun stuff. We get Jennifer to talk about the report, the ESP.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
For now, till I freeze up, everybody laughs. I'll go over the December 2025 report. The highlights are mostly just on page 1, but there's several pages that list what we're doing, some of the outreach in every county. But our enrollments at the end of December were 354, which is up compared to enrollment numbers last year. 64 specifically for the month of December. Some of the increased enrollments is resulting from our NDWG grants, so those National Dislocated Worker grants. So that's part of this increase. And then we also have the non-WIOA putting in Kentuckians First, which at the end of December, they had enrolled 291. As of today, I just pulled that number. They're at 334. So our goal is to enroll and place 400 young adults into employment. So the enrollment number looks really good there. Some of our active services at the end of December, we had 26 individuals placed into work-based learnings. We had 85 participants placed into paid trainings and on the WIOA side, and then 23 in paid trainings on the non-WIOA. Some of the current highlights, we've been working, with the Army Depot for quite some time, and we have that NDWG grant. Our goal was to enroll 75 participants with Yokohama and the depot by December 31, and we enrolled 81. So we exceeded the goal for that. And then we also have the storm grant money, which is that National Dislocated Worker grant. That's a new grant. And so we've already started enrolling from that. And that's the grant where we're focusing on the physical courts and doing some OJTs on the job trainings with our physical court in each of our counties. TIF is doing a lot of outreach to the judge execs for that initiative. We also are working really close with the recovery community with a handful of centers, tailor-made and stable recovery. After this call today, actually, I'm going to Lexington to help do a mass enrollment for them. So we're doing on-the-job training for the School of Horsemanship, DV8 Kitchen with Rob and his team. We're working with paid internships for them, and then Revive Life Ministries is a recovery center in Jessamine County. It was actually our very first recovery center that we started doing paid internships with back in 2018. And then, of course, we're working with the fiscal courts to do those OJTs out of that storm grant money. Pal and Estill, we've launched an EMT cohort for emergency medical training, and we have the child care initiative that we've been working with Miss Debbie Link and Robin on. And then at the bottom of that page, it just shows some of the upcoming initiatives that we have. And the reason why that I bold some of like the actively recruiting is because that lets Stacy know to put that in our newsletter. So when she pushes out the newsletter, she can push those. But we're working with linemen, pharmacy tech, a Boyle and Mercer CDL training, Dry Stone Mason for Bourbon, Madison EMT, Clark EMT, and then a partnership with JAG in Harrison County. So we're really trying to, touch ground in each of our counties with special initiatives. Our team does a really good job outreaching every single month to every single county, including the business service team who's outreaching to employers. So, and then we always end the report with a success story. So be happy to take any questions that you all have.
A lot. It's good.
And love to hear all the, what's going on, and the success stories are great. Of course, I'm listed on that, all the stuff that you're working with. I know we've got some stuff coming up, so it's always great. I'll applaud all the efforts. I know it's Jennifer, Todd, Tiffany kind of helping some of my employment going. So I know they're doing the same work for other employers, so it's great as far as the job seekers as well. So I love it.
Yeah, I just love the spread across all the counties too. I mean, like you walking into any of the leaders for those counties, I mean that it's just you could nobody's questioning the value of what we do. So kudos to you and the team. This is great.
Yeah.
I have to give credit to, you all and to Tiff as well, because Tiff's vision is she wanted cohorts, and I did too, in every single county. And then, and Matt, I can specifically remember you asking questions about what are you doing in these rural counties? Like this county has low enrollment. So as we hear you all say things like that, then we create initiatives. And so like, for example, we just signed on a master agreement with Nicholas County Board of Education, where we're doing, I think, 11 co-op students. So we're paying the wages for 11 co-op students in Nicholas County, or we're in the works to get that started. And so that's a county that has historically been served, but kind of underserved. So we're really trying to target those rural counties and do initiatives in every single county. And so it's, thanks to you all for helping push those initiatives as well.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And our closure being taught.
All right, good morning, everybody. So in your packet, you will see the one-stop report from December. You can see the number of walk-ins and referrals that we've got. The trend is still that we just keep seeing an increase in the referrals into the program. We did hire a new person that's going to be our intake specialist. So this person will be responsible for all these new referrals that come in. So I've been working alongside her. Her name is Taryn Phillips. She was actually one of our WEXs from the youth program. So we were able to bring her on. I've been working with her on working on these referrals. It's really just become something that we've got to have a full-time person in, but I just ran the numbers for January, and that number was up to 349 new referrals. So a lot of interest still there in the program, and those referrals keep coming in. So we're glad to have somebody that's going to be able to kind of help control those and take a little bit of the load off the staff from doing the initial contact and outreach and that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to have somebody on board that can kind of help us with these referrals that keep increasing. December hiring events and the VR events. December was a little bit slower just due to the holidays, but you had a couple things there. Rolando and I continue to do the rapid response sessions with the Bluegrass Army Depot. We had 2 sessions there in December. We've had another 2 in January, and we've got another 4 more that we just scheduled yesterday. So they're wrapping up pretty quickly there, and we're going to continue to work with them. Our staff person, Madison, with the NDWG grant, I know she is seeing a large amount of folks from the Bluegrass Army Depot that are taking advantage of that grant. And that's one of the things that we promote very heavily in these rapid response sessions to make sure that we're able to spend those NDWG funds. Final bullet point there, and I mentioned this, I think, in our last meeting, but it wasn't on the report then. We did acquire a new suite in the Richmond KCC location. We were basically all out of space there, and we were wanting to keep all the partners there, but adult ed really needed some space to kind of grow, which the new suite gives them the ability to kind of have a classroom set up, and then it also freed up a couple additional offices for us to gain an office and move our quality person, Larry, who lives in the Richmond area, a little bit closer to home, and it also gives us a little more leadership down there in the Richmond location. We consider the next 30-day focus. Tiff and Michael and Colin and myself, we met with the state with the new Bluegrass MOU and IFA. We have to do kind of like a quarterly reconciliation where we look at all the costs that were spent. It actually went a lot smoother than I think Tiff or I kind of anticipated. So hopefully that continues every quarter, but that's something that we'll be doing quarterly with the state partners to look at what they spent, what we spent, and how we reconcile those costs quarterly. But that's the report. If you've got questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Yeah, that's surprising at the end too, because I know that there was like for so long as we were trying to get these locations, it was who's going to pay what rent, how's the utility, like yeah. So that's great that everybody's getting along.
Yeah, we were tickled with it too, Matt.
Yeah. It wasn't painful, which was shocking.
Not at all. That's right.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
you have
Todd.
those meetings and yeah, thank you. Yeah, you have those meetings and you're kind of like, do we still need to have the meeting? Did that meeting just happen? What was, yeah. No, that's great though. No, good. That's really good.
Thank you all.
That referral QR code, I think that's working out well. I know I've told some people to do that referral, so I assume some of those numbers are, promoted by, the outreach that people are asking me what to do. So,
Absolutely, John.
yeah. And I know you guys have been taking care of some of the potential people coming my way, so I appreciate that. And I was talking about how the team there with you, Jennifer, and Jeff kind of pushing that along. Appreciate that. All right. So sounds like we've covered what we were required to cover according to my notes here, but now we have an open discussion. Anybody got things that they want to add, talk about? I know behind the scenes, Robin's been helping me with my screwed up schedule, and I appreciate what she's doing. For my busyness and not being well informed on stuff that was sent to me, but Robin's taking care of me. So thank you, Robin.
You're welcome. Glad to help.
Nobody's got anything else. I want everybody to stay warm, and there'll be a few times, that I keep on looking to you for that last motion of these meetings.
Yeah, well, it's Dolly's turn. I'll let her do the motion and I'll just second it so that
There we
it doesn't
go.
look like, yeah,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
See you. Thank you.